Welcome to the Investor Fuel Real Estate Investing Show, where I interview the nation's top real estate entrepreneurs, industry leaders, and other amazing entrepreneurs to help educate and inspire you to take your business and your life to the next level. My goal is to add tremendous value to you during every single episode of this show. If you get value, I'd love it if you subscribe on your favorite podcast player, subscribe on YouTube, and my very favorite, please share this with your community so we can impact even more entrepreneurs. Let's start today's show. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Today, I'm here with Dallin Cottle. We're going to be talking about marketing. A couple of marketing nerds are going to be talking about how to take your business to the next level. The timing is pretty good. We're recording this right near the end of the year here. So by the time it comes out, it'll probably be early January. Perfect time to kind of get your bearings straight, if you haven't already, on what you need to be doing to market your business and get to the next level. It's going to be a great show. So Dallin, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, excited to have Dallin here. By the way, he just joined Investor Fuel as a sponsor and has a fractional CMO business, kind of a marketing agency. So excited to talk about marketing today. Hey, before we jump into this, tell us a little bit about your backstory and kind of how you got here.
Yeah. So got a political science degree, thought I was headed to law school. I took this random job at an advertising firm here in Utah, and I just loved it. I was like, wow, this is really interesting. Like the psychology and understanding, big data sets and understanding how people voted and how people behaved in certain, situations, like taking all that behavioral science and applying it into this marketing job, really fueled my growth. And it's all I did. I just ate, slept, market, it was everything. And so that I was there for about a year, getting so many insights. My job was to basically look at spend on paid platforms and analyze those budgets and find waste. So I would go in, audit a Google ad account or PPC account and find, okay, we're wasting 76% of our ad spend in these areas. Let's switch the budget over. Let's find the conversions and let's make some money together. So that was my primary job, just figuring that out. That took me, to a point where I was like, wow, this is great. Looked around me and saw that this is probably the end of, or this is probably about as high as I get in this company right now. And so I decided, you know what, I'm going to quit. And so I did. And then I told my wife in that order. So that was a mistake, but I learned that the hard way. So quit. Told my wife, came home, and then Googled how to start a business. And that's kind of where, where Roar started, was basically a Google search, figuring out what an LLC was 8 years ago. So
yeah. The modern day version, you just ask your AI how to start a business and it gives you everything you need instead of a simple Google search.
It's easy now, man. It's easy. 8 years ago, it was a different game.
It's easy to get a document, but you still have to do the work, right?
That's right.
That hasn't changed. Yep.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, marketing. One of the things that I love about marketing in the real estate space specifically is there's so many people that are still like, winging it. Even some people that are operating at a high level, they're really not very scientific about marketing. And if you're a marketing guy, we're both kind of cut from that cloth. Is like, just like you said, your first job was cutting waste and stuff like that. A lot of real estate investors, or even probably honestly all small entrepreneurs, would just say, if there's that much waste, they would definitively say that doesn't work and just stop doing that altogether, instead of like, well, the way you're doing it isn't working, but doesn't mean you need to scrap the whole channel.
Exactly.
Right. So maybe share some thoughts on, just like you work with some high level operators, and I have too. So just talk about like the mindset of a larger operator versus maybe folks that are kind of smaller, that kind of like, quote, try stuff, but they quit, or they give it a half-hearted attempt, or they try to do it themselves without any expertise, or what. Just kind of talk about that dynamic of the high level operator versus the everyday operator, if you will.
Yeah. No, it's really interesting, because let's just take an example, like let's say PPC or Google ads, right? What's the high level operator, sits down, they create their annual plan, they create the quarterly rocks, and they say, we're going to launch, let's just say they're going to launch Google ads, right? It's maybe say they've never done it, or we're going to double budget on Google ads or whatever it is, right? So there's that kind of, you know, part of marketing, right? It was just like setting the goal and just like saying we're going to up budget or whatever, and that's great.
Yeah.
The difference between I guess the mindset of the high level operator and somebody who's just like be like, what can you do for $1,000 on PPC? Like that person is like, how can I just go as cheap as possible? I don't really quite understand how it works. The high level
Yeah.
operator is saying, hey, I need to spend 80% of my budget on things that work, but I understand that there has to be some sort of test budget. And I don't know
Yeah.
if, I mean, as part of this recording, what's December 23rd today. So like Google released some algorithm changes just with Google ads not too long ago. I mean, weeks ago, right? And in those changes, we noticed that when someone types into Google, like we're all seeing it now, the AI search results. Well, guess what happened to all of our click through rates? They dropped in half. So the high level operator says, okay, somebody might say, well, oh, Google's not working anymore. We got to go do more direct mail, right? It's like boom, boom, boom. And they just start cutting things out really fast. The high level operator says, great, all my competitors are now seeing a 50% drop and I got to go crack what this is. And so they're going to go deeper and they're going to figure out and split test certain things, longer tailed keywords and different things to figure out, well, how do I get that real estate back while everyone else is, you know, crying that they're not getting it, you know,
Right.
and they just stick to the strategy and they see it through. So
Yep. Yep. And I think, one of the differences from my experience is higher level operators, and this is in every industry, are trying to find reasons to spend more money on marketing because they like if you understand for every dollar you put in, you get back X, and X is, you know, a decent number. Like let's just
yeah,
say 4X or above. We tell people on the marketing, for real estate marketing, because you have a lot of other expenses, but
yeah,
if you're getting a 4X ROAS, which by the way is a 400% return. I mean, when you put in a dollar and you get back four,
yeah,
like keep going, right? Keep going. And just
correct.
basically, it's like, I kind of use the analogy of a pond. It's like, if you're catching a lot of fish, like don't leave, like put more lines out and keep catching more. Like everybody's
Yeah,
goal to go fishing is to catch as many as they can typically. Right. And so
right.
you shouldn't just say, hey, I cast it out like 5 feet. I didn't catch anything. So I'm leaving in
Yeah,
like five
exactly.
minutes. Right. It's like, no, that's not how it works. So you have to just kind of keep plowing into it. And so I think larger businesses are always saying, how can I spend more and get a good return on that? But a lot of
Right,
smaller entrepreneurs, including real estate investors, are like, how can I spend the least and get something out of it? And it's like,
right.
you have a job, then you don't have a business. You're not going to really be able to scale that, right?
Yep. And I mean, I go back to like that mindset though, too, of like the most people, when big changes happen, when Facebook says you can't target, you know, these things anymore, like there's the
Mhm.
restricted categories or whatever it is, so many people, and I'm part of so many different marketing communities. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, nothing works anymore. And like you hear all of this complaint. And I'm like, I just spend that whole energy of saying, these are just perfect opportunities for growth because now you have the whole market that's struggling to figure out how this is going to work now. So all you have to do is just test faster and get to the top. And you just
Right.
create so much more opportunities every single time there's a massive change. So I like look forward to the change because it just means that me and my clients get a win. So
Yeah. It weeds out a bunch of people that are on the sidelines crying about it.
correct. Yep.
Yeah, because the truth is all these ad platforms, they always figure out they have to find a way for people to win. I mean,
Exactly.
otherwise they'll
I mean,
go
they want
away.
you to
Like,
win. Yeah.
they want you to win, and their model might change, and they'll be, you know, uh, like, at the end of the day, like, it flushes out the people that aren't serious. I mean, and it might
Yep.
suck for everybody for a while, but there is still a way. You just have to find out, like,
Yeah.
they moved our cheese, and it's still there, but we have to
Yep.
find our way through, right?
Yep. And the good news is for someone who maybe isn't a really high level operator that's trying to crack into a market, those are also the opportunities as well to say, when there's those little gaps that happen, now you have an opportunity to step in and split the difference and be there, right?
Yeah.
Get some space, get some ad
Right,
space.
right. Yep. So let's talk about the kind of like done for you model or kind of do it yourself model. And obviously a lot of smaller entrepreneurs just say, well, I'll figure out how to do it myself. And
Yeah.
I kind of told you up front, I usually tell people like, would somebody else hire you to run their marketing? Or you could find and replace marketing with rehabs,
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
anything in business. Like, would somebody else hire you to do that thing? And if
Right.
not, why did you hire you? Because
Yeah.
you're never gonna be as good as somebody that's all they do, right? But
Right.
I think a lot of small businesses try to figure out a way to do everything themselves, which is kind of the definition of staying small, honestly, because
Right.
you can't scale your own time up. But just talk about that, the benefits of kinda working with somebody that knows what they're doing,
Yeah, yeah.
versus just trying to keep it in-house.
Well, just like, I mean, putting into perspective, just like you're saying, like, I've got my 10,000 hours times 10, right? Like in this marketing space. So it's like, I've read all the books, I've gone all the courses, I'm part of all the other masterminds. Like I go to marketing conferences and learn things and part of communities. And that's like all I do all day long. Team of 60 members on our team that are constantly just learning and figuring stuff out. And oh, wow, AI is changing like this. And we need to be doing AEO this way. And we need to be doing SEO that way. And then, wow, the Andromeda update on Facebook just released. And wow, are we taking advantage of this? And like, so all these different things that are happening. And like, we are adapting and trying to stay on top of it. And this is
Right.
all we do. So someone who's running an operation or, let's just say you're a really good real estate investor, but you're also doing marketing. Like there's
Mhm.
no way that you can split your attention on all those different things and be good at them to a point where
Right.
you can compete and beat the market. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's interesting that, and I think that's where it's like, do it yourself. I think the tendency is like, I want to save money. Like I don't want to go spend money and, overinflate and try to get all these different people in the mix or whatever. Or I'm going to go cheap. I'm going to go hire a marketing coordinator for this amount. Well, I always say, even when I hire employees, like you hire a video editor. Let's just say, you have a video editor that's like, oh, well, they're really cheap. They're over in Egypt or Pakistan for $4 an hour. That's great. Well, I've noticed that the video editor that maybe 5, 6 times that actually edits faster. And so you get better quality, faster results, and you think that you're paying, you know, you more for that, but you're really not. You're paying about, it's like pretty much sixes because of the results that come from
Yeah.
having quality in
Right.
your organization.
And I
So
think for a
all the
lot of
way up.
entrepreneurs,
Yep.
that the problem is they can't see the expense for opportunity costs on their P&L, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yep.
well, what could you have done if you had done it a better, like a more efficient way with somebody that knows what they're doing, you know? And
Yep.
you can't see that on the P&L, just like you can't see when you have rental properties, you can't generally you can't see like your vacancy cost. It's just revenue reduction. But there's no, if there was a line there that's like, hey,
Yep.
it's taking you 3 times longer to turn your properties because you're just trying to do it yourself versus having
Having, yeah.
somebody that's their responsibility. It's like your revenue would be higher, but it's not right in your face. So people just act like it doesn't exist when
Right.
it's still there. Right.
And there's still the other side of it where it's just like, I mean, really thinking about the quality of life. So I know that some of our clients
Yeah.
that have handed me the credit card and said, for example, Google Ads, like, you have an unlimited budget. Just keep this ROAS, right? Um,
Yeah.
and literally hand the credit card so that they can go on the family trips and the vacations. And like the reason why most people get into real estate is to create freedom and to create like passive
Yeah.
income and to create freedom for themselves. And so doing a job that you don't love, where you'd rather spend time with your family, that's a huge other side of it. Like the talent and the marketing and all that stuff and getting the results is great. But the other side of it is like, what do you really want? Like, what do you really want to do with your time and that freedom you're creating? You're just creating another position, another hat to wear in your company. So
Yep. Yep. And like you said, these things constantly change. Like I'm a founder of Investor Machine, direct mail company, but direct mail has been around for a billion years. I mean, but it's not necessarily the mail. Sometimes it's the piece, sometimes it's
yeah,
the copy, but it's often the list, like, and the
right.
data and the ways to get the data, and now using AI and machine learning to kind of refine the data. Like
Yeah,
that's where the evolution is, not necessarily in like a letter or the stamp or whatever, right? And so
yeah,
people will say, "Well, I know how to do this thing." And it's like, yeah, but that's changed a lot. And
yeah,
certainly
yeah,
pay per click and so all online advertising, everything with AI, like things are constantly changing. So like the average person that doesn't do that for a living can't realistically keep up with the evolution and all the
Right.
changes going
I
on.
mean,
And maybe
even
some of the
you take something like a radio ad or something like that, right? Where it's like, oh
right.
yeah, we've done this forever, but it's like if you're not constantly changing the messaging, the content, like it gets stale, it gets dry, and so having somebody that understands the brand, the message, your target market, your area, being able to
Yeah.
talk like, hey, we're local here in this city or whatever that is, and create a story that's interesting and fun for people to understand and realize what you do. Like just all like you said, it just always has to be changing and
Yeah.
getting better at it, going deeper with it.
Let's talk about what has changed, maybe with, like, all the changes in AI, like, just some of what has changed, and maybe give us a sneak peek from your perspective of what's coming, so real estate investors kinda have a better idea of, like, how they need
Yeah.
to adapt their marketing.
Well, I think that one of the great things about this market and the target audience is that a lot of the things that have worked traditionally will continue to work, right? They will continue to, TV will continue to work, getting attention like radio, direct mail will continue to work. Like you said, it's going to be more about the little strategic advantages within each of those segments, right? Um, all of the traditional stuff will continue to work with those adaptations. The digital marketing side will have huge changes. A lot of big changes over there. And I don't know what camp I'm in of, you know, you're never gonna have to hire another marketing person to do your PPC in a couple years. Like part of me kind of believes it. Part of me is like, jury's still out. Like we don't know exactly what it will look like. I'm
Yeah.
thinking that, I mean, when I look at the market, I mean, it's been shifting a lot. I mean, marketing companies don't charge more today than they did 10 years ago for PPC services. It's been the same. So there's more players. It's a race to the bottom. It's all
Yep.
about creating, it's all about just the results that are driven from those campaigns. So I do think that AI, like with our clients, we're doing a lot of stuff with AEO. So everybody's going to keep, you know, the target market, 55 plus, distressed seller, motivated seller, like they're all going to Google when they have that type of motivation and they're typing in those keywords. Where that search is, or if it's going through Chat GPT or wherever, like we're starting to really hone in those the large language models, the LLMs, and understanding AEO and where to go and get that attention. And I It's the most bizarre thing to go and look at Google Analytics and see, wow, that deal came from ChatGPT. um, there's not massive volume. Like I'm not telling everybody like, oh, you go do all this and you're going to get this huge volume play, but you're going to start getting deals from AEO if you start investing in it now. It's like putting out direct mail and hoping that the next day you're going to get, all these phone calls. Maybe you get some of those calls. Some of them are saying, hey, take me off your list. And the others are saying, you know, whatever, or you're looking at a 6-month window or whatever on it sometimes. And that's what I think AEO is going to be, is it's, you lay the groundwork right now, it's going to pay off in a couple of years from
Yeah.
now, like
For
it's
those
big
that don't
time.
know, talk a little bit about what AEO is.
Yeah.
I think there's a
So
lot that heard you say that, and they're like, what the heck's he talking about?"
yeah. So think just any sort of like AI like search, right? So using ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or any of these other AI platforms. Um, I mean, even when you get a new Chromebook now, the default is AI mode, right? So you don't even, it's not Google search anymore. Like you get a new laptop,
Wow.
Chromebook, you are typing, you are going on AI. And most people that are buying that, like they don't really know the difference now. And like you can click AI mode, like you can use Gemini now on Chrome. Like it's just going to start to adapt, and pretty soon, like I said, like the AI searches when someone types in, you know, need to sell my inherited house or whatever that is, or like, I need to do this fast or whatever. The search result for that is going to be AI. So where you used to be able to say, oh, let's run, these campaigns, sell my house fast. And then you pop up the top 3 on PPC. Well, now there's a huge chunk of real estate that's the AI result. And so in that AI result, people are you talk different to AI than what you put into Google. Google is like little keywords that get a quick response of like these general areas, right? Like, oh, you need to sell your house fast. Like, okay, I kind of got you here. AI is like, hey, my mom passed away. I've been feeling kind of sad. Like people talk to AI like it's a human sometimes, right? It's like,
Right. Yeah.
I need to sell my house. My mom died. I just don't know really what to do. I don't know if I can sell it because of these things. I want to do it fast. We have funeral expenses. Like they're talking through the situation and AI says,
Yeah.
that's a great question. I'm really sorry to hear about that. Let me give you 3 options for how to sell your house. Right. So how you market or how you talk about what like the blog articles and the things are different now. And so AI, especially Gemini's model, looks at Reddit, looks at all these different kind of more like local type of business approaches or local influencer type of approaches than your traditional large SEO. So this is good news for the small operators. And I think large operators know this. And so AI is very much catering towards the person that is a small influencer in your space or a small like business or a local like, hey, we sell houses in Green Bay, Wisconsin, or we buy houses in Green Bay, Wisconsin. That's a that's who AI is really for. It's for that local presence. Someone's been around and now it's just tweaking the strategy so that it works.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
I
And for
go
real
too
estate
much in the weeds
investors,
on that?
no, that's good.
Yeah.
And for real estate investors specifically, like operators, it's a different approach to effectively how you're going to get found online. So if you've put effort into SEO and, you
Yep.
know, created content and backlinks and all that, it's like the search engines just look at it differently now. And
Yep.
I don't think, I'm not an expert in it. You're probably way more of an expert than I am, but I know enough to know that the way you've been doing it is going to change, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's SEO groups that will say, oh, it's all the same stuff. Well, it's like, it's the same stuff. Like the results that are happening right now, there are some components that do still work. The problem is that 40 to 60% of it is changing and it's just going to continue to change. So if you keep doing what you've
Right.
been doing, you're just going to slowly kind of drift off into
Yeah.
the abyss.
Yep.
You're not
Yep.
going to be where, not going to be where people are going for help. Right. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where if you want to take advantage of this opportunity, you need to talk to somebody that knows what they're doing because you could
right.
just guess, but it's not going to be you're just not going to be optimized, right? So, or
Yep.
you're and the problem is with a lot of smaller people is they like I'm going to do it on myself my own. If you think of like the trajectory of a missile or like a plane or something, if you're off by like 1%, I mean it's not
Right.
that big of a deal, but over time you're like off by 360 degrees. Like you
Right.
just went in the circle, and didn't
Yep.
and you went nowhere basically. So over
Correct.
time, that being off a little bit is a big deal. Um, hey, let's talk about, you run a fractional CMO business where you
Yep.
help people and you manage across all different channels, right?
Yep.
And so, I'm, you and I have a lot in common in terms of our beliefs about marketing.
Yep.
And there's a ton of real estate investors. Where obviously this is a real estate show, so we talk about real estate investors. It's probably the same
Yeah.
for all small and medium entrepreneurs that like find one channel and they just go heavy into that without thinking about this idea of kind of omnipresence. Like you
Yep.
want to be found like you want to dominate online. You should dominate every channel. Like, by the way, they all fit together. People get a piece of direct mail or they see your ad on
Yep.
TV and then they go Google you and they look for you. And if
Yep.
you're not optimized for SEO or AEO, or
Yep.
certainly, buying your own keywords at a minimum on pay per click, then guess who all that mail and all the TV ads are doing? They're feeding your competitors in your
Yeah.
market
Exactly.
because they are doing what you're supposed to do. And so just talk about kind of layers of marketing and how everything fits together and maybe how, real estate investors, if they're not already thinking this way, should be thinking.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I loved your like baseline, like, hey, are we doing this right? Like basically a 4 row ads is a great measure, right? To say, okay, are we doing this right? So um, you know, usually you start with a channel or two and you start doing that, you start getting traction, you make relationships with agents and you kind of work your way up until the point where is exactly what you're saying. And so when we're looking at when we're looking at overall strategy from TV, radio, SEO, AEO, Google Ads, Bing, Yahoo, should I say this Reddit? No, I haven't heard that in any circles yet, but Reddit, becoming a local influencer, answering the questions that people are asking, you start looking at all these different channels, and it's exactly what you're saying. So like your TV ads will increase the people that are searching, right? Will increase your Google. Running Google ads will help your SEO. Your SEO will help provide insights for your Google ads. Like when people search and they go to your website, then there's a whole branding play of making sure you have reviews on Better Business Bureau and like, you know, on your Google My Business like profile, having reviews there and like building reputation is also a key. And there's the social proof, and like it's never just one strategy that will help win a market. If you want to
Yeah.
dominate a market, you have to go broad, and you have to do it strategically in testing, you know, what a lot of people, they say, well, I'll just start small with my direct mail. So they'll send out what, 2,000 mailers. And like, how long is that going to take to get a deal? Like you're 8 months in, maybe, but your volume is so low. The same goes with PPC. The same goes with your TV ads. The same goes with all those. You have to have enough. You have to have enough oomph or enough, depending on the
Yeah.
market size, to actually saturate it enough to get the attention you need to convert. So a lot of people think,
Right.
well, if I spend this, then I'll ramp it up as soon as as soon as it works. That's not the
Yeah.
case. So it's being strategic with a strategic budget, picking a channel, getting it to the 4 ROAS, and then picking the next one, maintaining it and getting better at it, and just keep adding those channels as much as you can throw back into the marketing, the better your chance of growth, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think, and having the mentality of like, what is it going to take for me to make this work instead of like trying to find a reason to stop doing stuff as soon as possible? Because quite frankly, there's only a handful of major channels. Like, if it doesn't work, you should be freaking out a little bit. Like, how do you make it
Yeah,
work? Because like you need it to work, right?
correct. Yep.
Yeah. I think, the guidance I typically tell people is like, look, don't go into. I usually say you should. This is my advice. You might think differently. Is like, look, you should
Yeah.
have a foundational channel that brings you at least 3 to 5 deals a month. Like, you don't have to start diversifying until you're spending enough to do that. Maybe a little bit, but you shouldn't
Yep.
go into any other channels until you have some foundational channel that's getting you at least a few
Yeah.
deals a month. And then I'm like, don't go into a new channel unless you're prepared to spend enough to get a deal a month through that channel, whatever that is. Maybe it's 5, 6, 7 grand. Like, it depends on what
Yeah.
market you're in, of course. And unless you're willing to stick with it for 6 months, and risk
Yeah.
not making a dime from it. Because what happens is people go try something. Like you said, they'll spend enough to get a deal every 4 months, and they'll try it for 2 months, and they don't get anything. And they're like, yeah, that doesn't work. And it's like, well,
Yep.
why would it have worked? You didn't do what you needed to do to make it work, you know?
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, putting on my fractional like CMO hat, what's also interesting about that is that sometimes, and this is the way we think as fractional CMOs, is that how you answer the phone from a direct mail piece sometimes is really different from what the intent is on Google or another channel. So
Mm. Yeah.
if you treat every channel exactly the same, and you say, well, here's our, here's our conversion rate over this period of time for this channel, and you apply that same philosophy to another channel, and the follow-up process and the nurture sequences afterwards, like doing the same thing for Google PPC and the same thing for cold call leads, those are very, very different follow-up sequences. The
Yeah.
quality of the lead, the type of lead, the motivation of the lead. And so as like CMOs, we're looking at that motivation. We're listening to those calls. We're understanding, okay, yes, that goes into our long-term nurture. This goes into this nurture. This goes here.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
one needs to be called every day, 3 times a day, nonstop until they say, here's our keys. So like the follow-up is also a huge part of marketing, and looking at it from start to finish. We're really ingrained with our clients, like acquisitions teams, the lead managers, really understanding marketing. It's not just like, hey, we send a bunch of leads over, like cross our fingers, hope that it works. It's like, no, we want to understand all the way to how much money do we make on each of those leads, and
Yeah.
what is our ROAS?
Yeah. One of the things I love about your model and why people should think about, you know, working with somebody like you is you look across all channels. And so I have a lot of friends that own agencies, so I'm not knocking them, but if you run a pay-per-click agency and then you do your direct mail over here and then you do this other thing over here, like, if you're not getting all those people together to talk, which nobody does,
Nope.
then how do they know? Like, they don't. Nobody's looking over your business overall to say, how can we optimize the channel we're doing based on what other channels are going on, right? They're just
Yep.
people are just kind of making it up and expecting it to all gel, but like, why would it? It's almost like you would never go you would it's the reason people have a GC or the house needs to be GC'd when they rehab a house. Like
Yeah.
if your electrician's not talking to the framer and they're not talking to
Yeah.
the HVAC guy, like they're stepping all over each other. Things take longer. Nothing gets done right. It ends up costing more, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it makes sense when
Absolutely.
you explain it that way, but marketing is no different, right?
Right. And sometimes, and then also just having somebody in the seat that, I mean, whether it be a fractional CMO or just a high level marketer inside of your company,
Right.
somebody that understands when the vendor says, oh, that's just kind of how it goes. And they're just like sending over these metrics sometimes or whatever. And there's been more than, more than 100 times. I'm like, no, I understand SEO. Like, that's not right. So you
Yeah.
guys need to fix it. So
Right.
being able to speak the language, but also being like, hey, I know you have some bonus spots on your, let's get some bonus spots. Like we've had some low lead volume on radio. Like, come on, right? Like being able to know the space and know different channels and what levers to pull and how to get more bang for your buck, but also, yeah, how to build the relationships. I love building the relationships with the team or even building the in-house operators, like being able to manage the team members and being able to take that off of the, CEO and founders of the companies, being able to help them free up time with expertise and build a culture inside of that marketing department. It's also
Yeah.
a really fun part, just building it in-house. So
Yep. Yep. Awesome. Hey, Dallin, if folks want to learn more about you or maybe to work with you or learn more about what you do, connect some way, where do they go?
yeah, go to roarcmo.com. So roar like the lion or here on my hat. Roar CMO, chief marketing officer.com. So, and you can schedule a strategy call with me and my team and take a look, do some audits, take a look at what you're doing and see if there's anything we can do to help. So
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks for joining me today. Good to see you.
cool, cool. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate your time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks,
Everybody,
guys.
thanks for joining us today. As we're recording this right before Christmas, but it might come out in early January. Nonetheless, it's kind of the new year is here, for sure. And if you're not doing things differently than, you have in the past, then you're not going to move forward. And I think Dallin and I both believe very passionately about marketing. It is the fuel for your business. It's what fuels your business forward. It's literally the gasoline you put in your tank. And so if you're about to drive across the country, like you need to have a clear plan of how to get there and you need to make sure you get gas along the way. Otherwise you're going to stop in the middle of nowhere and get stuck. And we don't want that for you. So appreciate you guys. Hope you got some good value from today's show. Happy New Year. We'll see you soon. Thanks for joining us for today's show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing on your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. You can also check out the show's notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and even how to work with me directly one-on-one. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. See you on the next show.